Hi, welcome to Hope and Firm Foundations, and where our goal is to actually engage people in conversations about healthy relationships. Specifically started this journey because of my passion with working with youth and families, and a lot of the issues that I've noticed at the core of it is always about healthy relationship, healthy communication, healthy boundaries. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't know that. A lot of us don't know what that looks like. And as for myself, I didn't know what that looked like until I got connected to counselors, social workers, therapists. So that leads me to my goal. My goal is to share information about healthy relationship. As soon as you come across my video, this will be your last time not knowing what healthy relationship is, what it looks like. We're going to be talking about all the elements, all the things that go into having a healthy relationship with someone else. We're going to be talking about familial relationship, friendships, work relationships, our relationships with ourselves, relationship with God. My hope is just to bring light, and so we can have like open and transparent conversations about this. So when we talk about healthy relationships, it's not always going to be a great resolution. It's not always going to be, oh, we're going to make this relationship work. Sometimes within your own reflection and some of the information, it's going to hit you, and you might realize maybe there are a couple relationships in my life that are not serving me. Maybe there's a couple relationships where I have questions. Maybe there's a couple relationships where I need to have conversation. It's really gonna be up to you. My biggest goal, although I've already listed so many goals that I have for this page and my content, my biggest goal, remind people that there is hope, you are loved, and you are welcome at the table of Jesus Christ, who is my hope and firm foundation, hence the Hope and Firm Foundations. It kind of goes hand in hand. We're going to start with familial relationship. So familial relationship is commonly defined as a strong bond or connection between family members, and that could be by blood, that could be those who have adopted as your family. Caregivers are essential for children's development. They are also essential for fostering their children's sense of security. Our families are often our first relationships with the world, and depending on how those relationships work out with our families, it can unfortunately set the course for the rest of our life. And all families, as we know, do not look the same and are very specific to the individuals. Unfortunately, not all families are healthy. Not all families are spaces where people feel supported, feel like they're thriving. And I'm just gonna start sharing a list of healthy family dynamics, and then I'm gonna share of unhealthy, which after reading healthy, you'll pretty much see that anything on the opposite of what I've listed is pretty much unhealthy. And what can we do about it? So the first one is everyone is allowed to communicate the worries, fears, and successes. That one already crossed me out because unfortunately, I didn't feel like I was raised in a family where I could communicate those things. Usually I felt like my fears were sometimes dismissed. So for me, that one doesn't really stand out as something that I had, but that's a healthy family dynamic. The next one is everyone is allowed to speak for themselves rather than one individual having the say. When you're in a position where you have to listen to parents, oftentimes your parents might be the one making all the decisions. But what we're talking about is obviously in the decisions that your parents have to make or caregivers have to make in their roles, it still doesn't take away from the fact that you still feel heard, and sometimes your input are considered and acted on when choosing activities or choosing anything that has to do with the whole family. Usually, even though if your parents are the one really setting the pace of everything, there's still that space for you to exist. I hope. Next one is parent caregivers set good examples for their children and display a healthy level of affection. I'm gonna cross out my whole family there. And I'm gonna try not to read too much of my life into this. So what does that mean? A good example for their children and display a healthy level of affection. So pretty much showing that you regularly care, whether it's through words, through actions, through time, like you're making time, caregivers, parents, you're making time to let your children know that they matter, they are seen, and checking in with them. So another example of a healthy family dynamic is free of violence, and I mean physical, emotional, sexual, and neglect. So the next one is having fun. Yeah, I think families should be fun. In healthy family dynamics, people are allowed to have fun. So overall, healthy family dynamics help everyone to care for relationships in general. It helps people to build strong human connections. If you have a connection to your family, it shouldn't be the end all be all, but a healthy family dynamic does set the pace for you to prepare, like especially as you age. As you age, you start trying to find your own family. That chosen family really comes into play because there are a lot of people within their own family dynamics. They don't really feel understood. They don't feel like very seen, right? If there's those healthy family dynamics where there's respect, there's the respecting of other people's opinion and allowing other people to feel like they can express themselves, that really sets up your child, your youth, and just sets you up to be able to have positive relationships outside the family. Because oftentimes the relationships we experience as children does set the pace for our next relationships. If we're unable to be seen, if we've been in relationships where we haven't really been valued, it's often hard to be in a relationship and value the other, or know when you're not being valued and being able to walk away. It gets difficult. I wanted to add this disclaimer because I just said a lot, but going back, all families go through difficult times. If one aspect of a family relationship is not healthy, it does not mean that the whole relationship is unhealthy. It might just look like a conversation. But if something in your spirit is not feeling well and you want to have a conversation, I encourage you to have a conversation with safe people that you feel like will hear you out. And then whatever the next steps look like from there, I pray over your situation. I pray that you can take the steps that you need to take to have a stronger family unit if that's what you need. Now we're gonna move into the unhealthy parts of a family, and I start whispering because this one's touchy, right? And especially when we're talking about our families and we're thinking about it, it's not always easy to admit that this might be happening. But I'm gonna be sharing some, characteristics of an unhealthy family system, familial relationship, and family dynamic. So I know we talked about respect, so there's no respect for each other. Everyone kind of speaks over one another. They're not above going low. It's not a safe space. People feel judged. People feel disrespected. People feel like their opinions don't matter. And one person is making the decision. Our next one is, unfortunately, abuse, right? So when we talk about healthy familial relationships, we talk about it being free from all form of violence. But in an unhealthy familial relationship, violence, abuse is very present, and oftentimes is really hidden. It's excused, it's normalized, and although you could feel that something is wrong and you might want to say something, it just might not be the space, and it's not the space where you can truly express it. So a familial relationship that has abuse is not a healthy relationship. And any relationship where you are being abused in any capacity, please talk to someone. Talk to a trusted adult. If you don't trust anyone, let's say you don't trust anyone, take a chance. Tell someone that you're going through it. Tell someone that someone in your family is harming you, and that's it. Like, you don't even know what comes next. I could only imagine how scary it is to even say that out loud. Even if you don't know what to do, professionals in the caring role, we know that we have a duty to report. We'll take over, but trust someone, take that chance. And there's some of you who has taken that chance, and maybe you told someone, you said, hey, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm experiencing, and they did nothing about it. I apologize. I apologize that you took that chance. You stepped out on faith and reported that you were being abused, you were being hurt, and they did not believe you. I believe you. Call your local child welfare. They will believe you. And I know we don't play with systems like that, so I'm gonna digress. If it's not child welfare, a trusted adult, a teacher, a worker, a pastor, a youth pastor, someone you feel can really hear you. There are things that you do share that there are limits. No matter how much you share, there is a duty to report. You have the right to live free of abuse. So with sharing does come our responsibility, but it doesn't mean you did anything wrong. We just have a right to protect you, but tell someone. Next thing I would say is talk to a therapist. Access the resource where you can share yourself. You can freely open up about the impact and what happened. You are allowed to take responsibility for your own well-being, for being like, you know what, I come first. We already know the effects of abuse oftentimes is that people-pleasing tendency. It's about putting others first, but I encourage you to start putting yourself first at that moment and putting your safety. If you're not around anyone who cares about you enough to be like, hey, put yourself first, use me as a button. Put yourself first. If you're in a space where you've acknowledged that, something in my family is not healthy and you're ready to do something about it, you have to really check in with yourself and be like, what do I want to do next? What can I do to make sure that I am in a healthy relationship? And oftentimes it might just be, hey, I have to walk away from this person. One thing I really hated growing up was always, oh, but that's your mom, that's your dad, that's your aunt. I know that. That is exactly why I'm struggling. It's because I know the position they hold in my heart. And I love them so much that I've been sacrificing myself for the last couple years, but now I'm choosing me. And when that time came down, I had to stand out on business and be like, hey, I'm sorry. I've already thought about them, and this is why my life is like this. It's about me. There's always going to be people. When you start putting boundaries and acknowledging, hey, I don't want to talk to my parent anymore. I don't want to talk to this chosen member. I don't want to talk to these people. People are always going to be like, hey, but that. There's no but. When you've decided that you're done and you've decided that this relationship no longer serves you, it is what it is. And I pray that God provides healing, provides direction. And obviously, there's going to be times where you might want to talk to someone, you might want to process it, because maybe there's more things to process, right? Or maybe it's just, I've already processed, you're not going to change, you don't give me space to be myself, I don't feel seen, I don't feel heard, so I gotta go. Then you gotta go. If you stumbled upon this video and watched it this far, thank you. I pray the Lord provides you with wisdom, guidance, and peace. Whatever change you decide you want to make in your life, I hope you're able to go on that journey knowing that you are loved by me, you are loved by Jesus. Only do what you can, and I pray that if you don't know Christ, you come to know his peace. The reason why I'm here is Christ. God has changed my life, has transformed my life in so many ways, in ways I hope to share one day. Might not be ready yet, we'll see. But I know I was the youth that a lot of people counted out. I think at one point when I was 17, if you told anyone I would be here today, they would have laughed, because that's how much people gave up on me. And I think because of how much people gave up on me, that's exactly why I am doing what I'm doing, and I'm in the field that I'm doing too, because I know what it's like when no one believes in you, but through God's grace and through God's direction, I found a path. I found hope. I found peace, Christ peace. And I am here to just share the essence of relationships, to share the knowledge, maybe wisdom, I hope, depending on how it lands, but sharing the knowledge I've learned and really just putting out content, putting out videos that are helpful. Some of the topics are gonna get a bit more fun, but one thing I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna shy away from the topics and from the conversations I wish someone had with me, and I also wish I listened to, because I'll be lying if I said no one tried to speak wisdom into my life. It just wasn't my time, and I really just did not care. I had the lowest self-esteem ever, and when people used to see things in me, it used to bother me, because I just wanted people to give up on me. I already gave up on myself. Now I'm over speaking. Psalms 27:10 is what really stayed with me, and it's, though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. That verse kept me together and kept me going, because there are points in my life where I felt abandoned. I felt I had no one, but Jesus received me. Jesus loved me. He molded me. He allowed me to meet people that really were gonna bring me to this, and yeah, I'm just very thankful, and I wanted to share. And if you find anything in this video useful, share with a friend, share with whoever, and yeah, let's continue healing together through information, through knowledge. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a great rest of day, rest of night, good morning, depending on when you're watching this. Take care of yourself.